Monastery translates to the great place of complete joy. It's a Tibetan-style Buddhist monastery, and it features a 26.5-meter high statue of Avalokiteshvara. It has currently about 150 monks in its residence. It came under the state protection in 1994. In fact, the first temple here was built in 1809. Only a wooden pillar remains from this temple. In 1838, a private residence of the Jebstunga Kutuku was built here, which now hosts the library there. In fact, the 13th Dalai Lama stayed in this monastery in 1904. He was in residence there. And in 1840, the Vardaraja temple was built here. In 1913, the tall Avalokiteshvara temple was built here. And that is the main statue here, which I said the height is 26.5 meter high. It's a statue made of copper. It has, of course, a few gold leaves in it. It features about 2,286 precious stones. And the monastery is surrounded by the Gandan suburb, where the Prime Minister has begun his Mongolia share a common heritage of Buddhism, which the Prime Minister, by paying visit or starting his tour to Mongolia, has started out by paying tributes at this Buddhist monastery of Gandan. And we are now joined by our correspondent Ritu Verma, who joins us over the phone line from Ulaanbaatar, the capital of Mongolia. Ritu, give us a sense of the symbolism of the Prime Minister visiting his Mongolia, starting his Mongolia visit from this great monastery, the Tibetan-style Buddhist monastery in the Mongolian capital.
अमृत, अगर पिछले एक साल की यात्राओं की प्रधानमंत्री की बात करें तो चाहे वो काठमांडू के पशुपतिनाथ मंदिर हो, जापान के क्योटो में बौद्ध मंदिर में ध्यान लगाना हो, या श्रीलंका के अनुराधापुरम में महाबोधि वृक्ष का दर्शन हो, इन यात्राओं में एक बात जो खास रही वो इन देशों के संबंधों में जो आध्यात्मिक समानता है उस भाव को और मजबूत करने पर जोर रहा। और उसी कड़ी में इस यात्रा में भी जिस तरह से शियान में देखा हमने कि पगोड़ा में जब वो गए और उन्होंने वहां पर महाबोधि वृक्ष का एक पौधा भेंट किया, और उसी कड़ी में आज यहाँ मंगोलिया में भी वो आज जो गंदान मोनेस्ट्री में आए हैं उसको भी उसी कड़ी में देखा जा रहा है। बौद्ध धर्म भारत को इन तमाम देशों से जोड़ता है, और नेपाल हो, मंगोलिया हो, बर्मा हो, इन सारी जगह पे भारत से ही बौद्ध धर्म की यात्रा एक तरह से शुरू हुई है और एक लंबा इतिहास रहा है। 2600 साल पुराना संबंध रहा है भारत और मंगोलिया का आध्यात्मिक क्षेत्र में। तो इस दृष्टि से ये माना जा रहा है कि अपनी यात्रा की एक तरह से आधिकारिक शुरुआत कल प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी मंगोलिया पहुंचे, और आज जो सुबह से शुरुआत की है वो उन्होंने इसी मॉनेस्ट्री से की है।
Ritu, also the Prime Minister would be presenting a sapling of the Bodhi tree.
अब देखिए, बोधि ट्री का सैपलिंग उन्होंने वो यहाँ पर भी भेंट करेंगे अभी यहाँ के जो बौद्ध भिक्षु हैं उनको, और यही हमने देखा था शियान में भी। और यही सब ये सारी मतलब एक तरह से ये हमें बातें याद दिलाती हैं जब उन्होंने कुछ दिन पहले बुद्ध पूर्णिमा पे अपने भाषण में भी कहा था कि 21वीं सदी एशिया की सदी है और एशिया में सुख से ज्यादा जरूरी है। बिना बौद्ध धर्म के पालन या फिर भगवान बुद्ध की जितनी सीख रही है उसके अभाव में आप शांति और विकास के रास्ते पे आगे नहीं बढ़ सकते। तो मुझे लगता है कि कुल मिला के अभी तक की जितनी यात्राएं रही हो और मंगोलिया के साथ भी जो भारत के इतने पुराने संबंध रहे हैं उसमें एक मजबूत कड़ी रही है आध्यात्म की, और उसमें ये बुद्धिस्ट धर्म जो है उसने एक बहुत बड़ा एक तरह से रोल प्ले करा है। तो उसी कड़ी को आगे बढ़ाते हुए उसको जोड़ते हुए प्रधानमंत्री आज यहाँ आ रहे हैं और अब से थोड़ी ही देर में वो यहाँ पे महाबोधि वृक्ष की एक पौधे को यहाँ के जो मुख्य भिक्षु हैं लामा उनको भेंट करेंगे.
All right, and I understand that the supreme leader of the center of the all Mongolian Buddhists is the abbot of this monastery, the Lama here. Give us a sense of what is the importance of this monastery in Mongolia.
इसका इतिहास बेहद पुराना रहा है अमृत. और एक दिलचस्प बात ये रही है कि जिस समय बोल्शेविक रेवोल्यूशन चल रहा था, रूस की क्रांति हो रही थी, और उसके बाद भी जिस तरह का संघर्ष देखा है मंगोलिया ने भी अपने पूरे इतिहास में, उस दौरान भी इस मोनेस्ट्री का अस्तित्व, इसका वजूद बरकरार रहा. ये कहा यह जाता है कि उस कम्युनिस्ट दौर के जमाने में भी इस मोनेस्ट्री में जो मूर्ति थी, वो मूर्ति यहाँ से निकाल दी गई थी. और उसके बाद अब जो नई मूर्ति स्थापित हुई है, ये 1990 में स्थापित हुई है, जिसकी ऊंचाई है 20 मीटर और इसमें 19 टन ब्रॉन्ज है, 75,000 सोने की मतलब शीट्स लगाई गई हैं उस पूरी मूर्ति में. और ये अद्भुत और खूबसूरत मूर्ति है, जिसका भी दर्शन करेंगे प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी.
Okay. And you say during the communist rule, under the influence of Joseph Stalin, you know, a lot of monasteries were shut down, destroyed in Mongolia, and over 15,000 lamas were killed, and restrictions imposed on worship of Buddhism in Mongolia. But this particular monastery escaped the wrath of the communists, but it was closed down in 38, but reopened in 44 and allowed to continue as the only functioning Buddhist monastery, though with a skeleton staff. So in that sense, for the Mongolian people, it is a symbol of their culture and tradition.
बिल्कुल अमृत. और इस समय ये कहा जाता है कि मंगोलिया में करीब 90% बुद्धिज्म को फॉलो करने वाले लोग हैं. ऐसी सूरत में लगातार जिस तरह से एशिया में शांति की बात हो रही है, एशिया सब कॉन्टिनेंट में शांति की बात हो रही है, और जिस तरह से एक दूसरे देशों को एक दूसरे की जरूरत है, उसमें तो उन कड़ी को ढूंढा जा रहा है जो कड़ियां इनके संबंधों को मजबूत बना सकती हैं. 1990 में एक तरह से जब मंगोलिया एक आजाद देश के रूप में उसने अपना एक नया वजूद पाया, और उसके बाद बुद्धिज्म को फॉलो करने की एक तरह से छूट भी रही, और उसको पालन करने की एक जो शुरुआत हुई है, वो शुरुआत आज की तारीख में यहाँ संख्या में भी दिखाई देती है. 90% यहाँ के लोग वो हैं जो बौद्ध धर्म से जुड़े हुए हैं. तो ये दिखाता है कि एक तरह से आजाद होने के बाद से और तमाम प्रतिबंधों से दूर होते हुए और 1992 के बाद यहाँ पर फ्रीडम ऑफ स्पीच की आजादी मिली. तो आप समझ सकते हैं कि पूरी व्यवस्था और एक पूरा लोकतांत्रिक ढांचा बदलने के बाद का जो स्वरूप रहा है, उसमें इस धर्म को अपनाने, इस धर्म का पालन करने की जो एक आजादी है, वो आज दिखाई देती है.
Okay. And, you're in Ulaanbaatar since a couple of days. Give us a sense of what sort of a country is Mongolia. Because, for me, who's never been to Mongolia, Buddhism is one. Then, of course, I remember it as a country from where Genghis Khan came from. Is it a modern country? What sort of a country is it? Give us a sense of that. All right, I think we've lost the line with our correspondent Ritu Verma. We'll try and reconnect with her. But these are live visuals that you're seeing from the Gandan Monastery, where the Prime Minister is right now interacting with the lamas there, paying obeisance to this monastery, which is a symbol of the Buddhist culture and traditions of the Mongolian society, of which our correspondent was telling. 90% of these people, of the people there, follow Buddhism. This is a monastery which has been through many ups and downs, and in 1904, the 13th Dalai Lama is said to have stayed here, been in residence. We can see right now that the Prime Minister is penning down some of his comments in the visitor's book at this historic monastery. And after this, the Prime Minister shall be moving out. He shall be accorded a ceremonial welcome in the Mongolian capital. The Prime Minister later will be meeting the Prime Minister of Mongolia, after which he'll hold delegation level talks led by their Prime Minister, and of course the Indian side would be led by our Prime Minister. Some agreements are to be signed after that. They'll be interacting with the press. You can see the traditional honor being presented to the Prime Minister by the Chief Abbot or the Chief Lama of the Gandan Monastery, where the Prime Minister chose to begin his Mongolia visit. The Prime Minister returning that honor to the High Lama or the High Priest of this monastery. And as I was saying, the Prime Minister will be interacting with the Mongolian Prime Minister, holding delegation level talks, and later in the day some agreements are expected to be signed. Well, these beautiful visuals are of that monastery, the Gandan Monastery, that the Prime Minister is currently visiting, and this is supposed to be the monastery which went through the ups and downs but still was able to escape the wrath of the communists and stands today as a tall symbol of the Mongolian culture, traditions, and of course the survival of the Buddhist religion in Mongolia, which today 90% of the population of Mongolia follows Buddhism, and the Prime Minister using that motive for a cultural connect, because remember, Buddhism as a religion started from India and then went on to a host of countries including Southeast Asia and China, Tibet, Mongolia. So the Prime Minister right now at the Gandan Monastery paying his tributes and obeisance. We can see young lamas there, pretty happy to see the Prime Minister of India. There are currently about 1,500 lamas who are in residence at this monastery. And after meeting the Prime Minister later in the day of Mongolia, the Prime Minister shall be calling on the President of Mongolia. He shall also be meeting with the Speaker of the Mongolian Parliament. And today being Sunday, generally the Parliament of Mongolia is closed, but in a rare occasion it shall be opened, and the Prime Minister shall be addressing the Parliament of Mongolia. This means this is a special occasion, of course, for the Mongolians, because it's 25 years since the establishment of democracy, and Parliament being the symbol of democracy, Mongolia is celebrating 25 years of its democratic existence. These are live visuals that we are beaming to you from Ulaanbaatar, the capital of Mongolia, where the Prime Minister chose to begin his journey or the leg of his tour to Mongolia. This is the first Indian Prime Minister visiting Mongolia, and he chose to begin this historic visit by paying obeisance at the Gandan Monastery in the Mongolian capital. And as I was saying, later in the day, the Prime Minister shall be addressing the Parliament of Mongolia. After that, a luncheon shall be hosted in the honor of the Prime Minister by the President of Mongolia. And after that, he'll be arriving at the National Cancer Center and handing over ceremony of the Babatron equipment. After that, the ceremony for the laying of the foundation stone of the proposed IT center, a short tour of the Atal Bihari Vajpayee Information and Communication Technology Training Center. He'll be interacting with Mongolian students. But right now, the Prime Minister at the Gandan Monastery, where he's paying obeisance, interacting with the lamas, and taking a tour of this monastery, using this motive of the cultural connect between India and Mongolia. Remember, Buddhism was born in India and it traveled over the years to these countries, including Mongolia, and Prime Minister using that cultural connect to stress upon the importance of the Indo-Mongolian ties. The Prime Minister, accompanied by the Lama, the High Abbot of the Gandan Monastery in the Mongolian capital of Ulaanbaatar. And later in the day, he'll be visiting the Mini Nadam festival. There will be a community reception, both of the members of the Indian community and the Mongolian Friends of India, and it will end with a dinner banquet which is hosted in honor of the Prime Minister by the Mongolian Prime Minister. These live visuals that we beam to you from the Gandan Monastery in Ulaanbaatar, a little about the monastery. Translated in English, it's a Tibetan style Buddhist monastery. Translated in English, this Tibetan name means the great place of complete joy. It has about 150 monks in residence, and it features a 26.5 meter high statue of the Avalokiteshvara. This monastery during the communist rule was shut down, during which many monasteries were destroyed, about 15,000 lamas killed all over Mongolia. But this monastery escaped mass destruction. It was closed in 1938, but then it was reopened in 1944 and allowed to continue as the only functioning Buddhist monastery under a skeleton staff, as a token homage to the traditional Mongolian culture and religion. But with the end of Marxism in Mongolia in 1990, restrictions on worship were lifted. This monastery was revitalized, and in 1994 it came under state protection. This monastery was first built in 1809. The first temple was built here in that year. Only one wooden pillar remains from that temple. In 1838, the temple was built along with the private residence of Bodh Khan. The 13th Dalai Lama is said to have stayed here in 1904. In 1930, the tall Avalokiteshvara temple was built, and but during the communist rule, the statue was taken off. The original statue was taken off, and but after 1990, the statue was reinstalled here. The statue was made of copper. Now it has sheets of gold leaf, features about 2,286 precious stones, and it is also the seat of the supreme leader of the Center for all Mongolian Buddhists and the abbot of this monastery. And Lama Gabju Choymans Demberel is the High Abbot or the Venerable Lama of this historic monastery. And we can see him interacting with the Prime Minister. The Lama is briefing the Prime Minister about the history, the culture, the importance of this monastery, showing him the artifacts and relics of the past that this monastery holds and houses today, and the significance of this monastery for Mongolians and Buddhists all over the world. A picturesque monastery in the heart of Ulaanbaatar, the capital of Mongolia. This monastery is surrounded by the Gandan suburb, but these beautiful visuals of which you see young lamas also here, waiting to see the Indian Prime Minister. This is, remember, the first Prime Minister, Indian Prime Minister, for having visited Mongolia, and given the cultural and the historical connect that India and Mongolia share, they have bestowed upon him the great honor of the Indian Prime Minister addressing the Mongolian Parliament. Mongolia, remember, is celebrating 25 years of democracy. It became a democracy after the communist rule ended in 1990. We are now joined by correspondent Arun Sharma. Arun, we can see right now in the visuals the statue of the great statue here. Give us a sense of what is the importance of this monastery and this statue.
That's right, Amritpal. Now, as Prime Minister Narendra Modi is heading towards this place where the Buddha statue is 20 meters long, and it's 19 tons of a bronze statue, basically, and almost 3,200 precious stones are there in this statue, and obviously this was again restructured or maintained in 1990 as well. So basically, again, the focus is on this Buddhism legacy. Now, Mongolia, basically India and Mongolia are trying to basically strengthen more the relationships, and Buddhism or the cultural ties will play an important role as far as the Buddhism is concerned. Now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will also offer the Bodhi stapling over here as well. So right now, the Prime Minister Narendra Modi had a word with the monks, and right now he is heading towards this place where the Buddha's statue is almost 20 meters long, and the smaller Buddhist monks are all set to chant the mantras as well over here. So the scene over here is extremely spiritual over here. We can listen to the chants like Nam Myoho, Renge Kyo, all these are the Buddhist chantings which are taking place over here. So the atmosphere is completely over here of
Alok, are you still online with us? Oh, sorry, Arun, are you still online with us?
Yeah, Amit, I can very much hear you. Tell me.
Okay. Arun, this is the Avalokiteshvara statue. Is it a statue of Buddha?
Yeah, over here, this is the Avalokara statue, which is basically 20 meters long, and 19 tons of bronze is over here. So basically, over here, and it's basically 3,200 precious stones are here. It's a beautiful Buddha statue over here, which you'll be witnessing shortly as well.
Okay.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has reached the venue over here, and Doordarshan News is giving this exclusive coverage to the viewers over here via Doordarshan News. And right now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has reached
Yes, I can see his cars arriving. I can see his cars arriving, the live visuals that you're beaming to us. But is it a big monastery that the Prime Minister has to go in the cars right up to the statue? It seems like a big monastery.
It's a big monastery, Amritpal. Let me tell you, it's a big monastery. It can be divided into 6 major parts. In first part, the moment you enter this monastery, the initial part where the monks live there, they do chanting every morning and every evening. And right now, where Prime Minister Narendra Modi is heading, again and again, I'm telling you, this is the statue which is of Lord Buddha. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is again and again focusing as to how Buddhism can play an important role as far as cultural ties are concerned between the country, between India and Mongolia as well. Now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is heading inside towards this part of the monastery. This is the second part of the monastery which Prime Minister is heading towards inside. And the visuals which you will be watching right now would be of that Buddha statue, which is 20 meters long. It was almost constructed and restructured in 1990. Now, very shortly, this Buddhist monk will be chanting the mantras, chanting the slogans over here, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi would also be participating in that thing. The important, the big event of the day, or the big takeaway of this meeting would be that Prime Minister Narendra Modi would be also offering this.
Arun, I can see the lamas offering these scarves to the Prime Minister. I understand these would be to honor the Prime Minister. What are these scarves called?
That's right, Amrit. Now, these are the cows basically, and before let me tell you that also that Prime Minister Narendra Modi has entered inside. So these are basically the ancient to Prime Minister as well. So right now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who has entered inside, would be also focusing and would be talking to the chief monk of this monastery as well. He had a word with him also, and they talked with each other for almost 15 to 20 minutes. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi, along with the chief monk, is now entering or is has almost.
All right,
entered,
we can see the visuals of the Avalokiteshvara statue, the statue that you are telling. Even as we beam these visuals and show it to our viewers, as the Prime Minister pays obeisance to Lord Buddha, if you could talk about this statue a little bit, Arun.
See, if we talk about this statue again and again, I'm telling you, the entire, the dominant part of this entire monastery is this part only, which is the second part over here. If we talk about this particular statue, this entire statue is 20 meters long, which is slightly inclined, and where almost 19 tons of bronze is included in this particular statue, and over 3,200 precious stones from various places in the world have been inserted in this statue. So basically, if we talk about the significance of this statue, it is the prominent part of this monastery over here.
All right, and give us a sense of the importance of this monastery as far as Mongolia, its traditions, culture, people go, and why the Prime Minister chose to begin this first visit by any Prime Minister to this Indian Prime Minister to this country by paying obeisance at this monastery.
That's right, Amit. If you try to analyze this relations, now the relation between India and Mongolia are almost 2,000 years old if you talk about the cultural ties. And but the fact is that the relation between India and Mongolia were not just too much explored. And our focus of Prime Minister Narendra Modi is clearly as to how can the Indian and Mongolian relationships can be revitalized, or we can say that how can more exploration can be done as far as these relationships are concerned between India and Mongolia. Almost 2 million people are living in Mongolia, and almost 80 to 85% of people over here do follow Buddhism. And therefore, we have seen that Buddhism is now playing a crucial role in also building relationships between the India and Mongolia. Prime Minister also said to the chief monk that he is also the MP from Varanasi, and basically Varanasi in Bodh Gaya also, he will not take special care after this as well. So the Prime Minister Narendra Modi is on Buddhism as to how can Buddhism legacy can play a crucial role in boosting the ties between two countries. And India and Mongolia, if we talk about the economic relations part also over here, mines and mineral sector, that is what India can basically get from this kind of relationship. Mongolia, as we all know, is rich in mines and minerals. That is what can play a crucial role. As far as uranium is concerned, India would obviously be looking forward as to how can uranium supply can be made or a go-through can be achieved over here. The important part over here, Amritpal, is that Buddhism right now is playing a crucial role in bridging or basically in boosting the ties between these two countries. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will also try to increase the trade relationship between both these countries as well, which is only $15 million as of now in 2014, which is too less, and it is not explored as much. So the focus of Prime Minister Modi is also as to how can economic relations can be increased. Now, during the visit of the then Minister of Commerce, Sri Pranab Mukherjee, in 1994, two MOUs pertaining to the establishment of the Joint Trade Subcommittee and cooperation between the Planning Commission of India at that time and NDP of Mongolia was signed. Now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi would also be focusing as to how can that part be increased. Now, the agreement also provides for the MFN status to each other in respect to of maybe custom duties and other taxes on import and export. So now Prime Minister Modi would be focusing as well as to, although the MFN status is there, how can the import and export can be increased. Now, the important part would also be that the Prime Minister Narendra Modi would be laying the foundation stone of the IT center. So a lot of homework has been done as to how can this IT center can play an important role in providing skill development also, and also can create jobs as far as the country of Mongolia is concerned. Now, the India-Mongolia, if we talk about the cultural relationship, Amrit, now Indian-Mongolia Cultural Agreement, which was signed in 1961, has governed the cultural exchange program between these two countries. Now, the agreement envisages the cooperation in field of education by way of scholarships as well, and exchange of experts, participation in conference, etc. Now, this has been signed in 1961, way back in 1961. So now Prime Minister Modi would also be focusing as to how can more can be done as far as the education sector is concerned. Important part is that Amrit should be surprised that there is Atal Bihari Vajpayee Center for Excellence in communication and training as well. So, following an agreement which was signed in September 2001, during the visit of the Minister of the Information Technology at the time, Mr. Pramod Mahajan from Mongolia, this Atal Bihari Vajpayee Training Center was there. Prime Minister Narendra Modi would also be visiting that. Now, you can see Prime Minister Modi has come out of this monastery, and he is there with all small monks over here. You can watch all this. You very shortly be watching all these visuals, which I can see it right now. The Prime Minister Narendra Modi is here with monks, and these monks would also be chanting the slogans. And the slogan which they do chant is Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. That means may all these things go out, and whatever the good work they do that goes into this ecosystem of the universe, which binds each and every human being in one sutra. That is what the entire focus is about. There shall be no war. Prime Minister has also always said that in the continent where Buddha used to belong, there should not be any war, and there should only prevail, only peace should be there, basically. And that is what the focus is all about. And this particular visit of Prime Minister Narendra Modi...
I can see the visuals of the Prime Minister posing with the young lamas, along with, of course, the chief abbot of the Gandan Monastery. The Prime Minister pretty happy to interact with the young lamas. All right, Prime Minister now gifting the Bodhi tree sapling to the chief lama of the Gandan Monastery, in a way reposing trust and faith once again in the cultural linkage that Buddhism provides between the two countries. The Prime Minister has earlier also used this motif in China for stressing the importance of the cultural linkage between the two civilizations and the countries. But Mongolia, the visit to Mongolia being especially important because this is the first ever Indian Prime Minister visiting the Mongolian, the country of Mongolia, and he chose to begin this visit with a visit to the Mongolian, to the Gandan Monastery, and the young lamas, about 150 of lamas, are in residence at this important monastery, important symbol of the Mongolian tradition and culture that the Prime Minister right now is posing for a group photograph with the lamas in residence there at the Gandan Monastery. He visits the Avalokiteshvara temple, the high statue there, interacted with the chief monk and the other monks of the monastery. The Prime Minister, I understand from the visuals, shall be leaving this monastery in a little while, and from now and after that the Prime Minister shall be going off, will be accorded a ceremonial reception by the state of Mongolia,